Well, hello. My goodness, it is so nice to see you guys. I am so sorry. I know that I've said a few times now that I've been trying to work out this whole like YouTube, work, home, plant life balance. It's clearly not going well. Like clearly. Anyway, so I'm going to stop putting pressure on myself. I know you guys don't put pressure on me. And thank you, by the way, so much to those of you who have reached out to make sure that I'm okay. I'm fine. Actually, I'm doing really well. I'm really enjoying my job. It's definitely a job that I can really sink my teeth into and rock, you know, so I'm really enjoying that. And it's just been kind of like a juggling act that, and I've never really been good at juggling. So I guess there we go. So anyway, I have quite a few videos that I've been wanting to do. And finally today I have some time to sit down and record some videos. So that's what we're going to do. So, this video might seem as though it's a little bit late, and I mean, we're not out of January yet, so I feel like it's still acceptable, but I do have a few videos that are like, I'm going to be filming a top 10, I think 10, maybe 5, I don't know yet, plants that were my favorites in 2021. Then we have this video, obviously. And I think I had a couple others that are like a, you know, 2021 sort of thing. So in case you didn't read the title and you were just like, holy shite, Nicki posted and clicked on it and didn't even read it. I love you guys. You're the champions. Mwah. Anyway, today's video is going to be things that I really learned and really sunk in about just my plant parent style and lessons in general. I don't even know if that made sense. Just things that I've learned in 2021 in the last year that have really like helped me grow with my plants and have made things a lot easier. So that's what we're going to do today. So for those of you who are new here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Nicki and this is my channel, Plants, Pots, and Whatnots. And boy, am I glad you are here. I have missed you to little bitty bits. And for my GFPs, we can't forget them because you are the real heroes. Mwah. You just keep coming back for more, like the gluttons for punishment that you are. And I love you for it. So thank you. Okay, without further ado, I'm really gonna try to rein in the Nicki chatter today because it's been so long. So I tend to like ramble on a lot when I come back after being gone for a bit, just because I've missed talking to you guys. So I'm gonna really try not to do that, but I am not promising anything. So if you are one of the amazing folks who always message saying you love my chatty videos, this may be one of those. Okay, I'm doing it already. Okay, let's go. Okay, we're gonna start off here, and I don't even know how many things, honestly, that I have on this list. I just kind of sat down and wrote down some things that have really just like sunk in, I guess, in the last year. So the first one, and this is just going to be chatty. I'm just going to kind of talk, you know, whatever comes to mind. I haven't planned out anything I'm going to say. So I just have some key things and I'll just kind of like ramble about them. So this is a great video and a great opportunity for you to like set me up on your counter while you water plants or do your dishes, or, you know, throw me on your TV while you bop around, you know, cleaning your plant leaves. Cause I always try to encourage you guys to do that. Or, you know, whatever, but it's a chatty one. So there's not going to be a whole lot of visual other than this, which you've seen a million times and isn't that exciting. Let's be real. Okay, moving along. Okay, so the first one I have on my list is new plants make me happy, but big healthy plants make me happier. So this one kind of just stems from the fact that I have really gotten to the point where I'm over like the mass amount of shelves. I still have them, obviously, but we're going to work on that. That's a project that's going to be upcoming here very shortly. I don't know when you guys will see it because it's probably going to take me a bit, but I want to get rid of a lot of the plant shelves. And because a lot of my plants now are getting so big that it doesn't make sense to keep them on shelves. And a lot of them just physically can't be on shelves. I have at least 10 plants, probably more than that, that are at least 3 to 5 feet tall. And I just can't put them on a shelf, nor do they need to be on a shelf. So, and I've just found that I've really been enjoying focusing more on just kind of like what I have. And I know I said this in my last video of like, you know, you're not buying any more plants now, what do you do? But this is something that's, I think in the past like month especially, I've really been like, I don't want any more little plants. I'm gonna have like my cabinets and stuff like that, and maybe like one little shelf that's dedicated to some smaller things. I want to condense all of my cacti and succulents into like maybe 2 like arrangement sort of cacti bowls, and just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like I want to condense a lot of things. I was thinking about putting all of my syngoniums together in a pot. I have like 3, I think, of the like tri-leafed ones that I want to just like, I just don't want a whole bunch of little things anymore. I don't. Okay. So anyways, that was number 1, is just that I'm really shifting into, instead of having more, I just want big, healthy plants, because that's really what's making me the most happy at this point. Also, while I'm going along here, let me know your feedback on each of these topics. Throw down in the comments. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Also, let me know like what you've really learned this past year. I feel like it was a really interesting year for plant parenthood in general. Because of COVID, we got all kinds of new people here in the plant parenthood world. So if you are what everybody seems to call a COVID plant parent, then welcome to the insanity. Welcome to the plant life. We are happy to have you. And for all of my old school planters who have been doing this for years, you know, obviously it's nice to see you too. And I don't even know where that part of the conversation started, so I probably didn't finish the thought. But anyways, shocker, that's just me. Okay, moving along. Oh, I know, I was saying how this year has been so strange with the flux of plant pricing and new plant people and stuff like that. So it was interesting to kind of see how that all played out. And, you know, I think for some people, it's a passing phase. They like get into something that for that time gets them by something like, you know, an event, or, you know, through COVID, or through, you know, something that's a little bit more draining on your mental health. A lot of people get into plants for those reasons. And if you're one of those people and plants have gotten you through that, I think that is so, so amazing. Anyway, what I was going to say is just go ahead and write all of the things down that you learned. Oh my God. This is what you guys signed up for. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Actually, okay, moving along. So chatty. The second thing I had written down here is more is not always better, and decluttering can be cathartic. And so I think that just kind of goes hand in hand with, you know, new plants make me happy, but like healthy big plants make me happier. I think I feel really like congested right now. And I know these two things are going quite hand in hand, but my whole goal right now is to just get rid of a lot of the clutter, while maintaining all of the plants and keeping a lot of the plants that I really love. So I know that's kind of like a struggle, and a weird balance to try to attain. But I think by like doubling up plants in a pot, for example, you know, there are still a few plants that I want to get rid of, because honestly, I just, you know, you think you want something and then you get it and you're like, meh. We do that. We do that with everything, not just plants, right? Okay. The third thing that I have on my list here is time management is key, and to pick my battles. Especially like even when I was off, I found that I really struggle with, and I think you guys, if you've been around a while, know this, I struggle with time management. It's like, I'm the type of person that in the morning I get up, I make my coffee, and I clean my kitchen and do all my dishes and make my kitchen spotless. That is always the routine. And many times what ends up happening is I get in a groove of cleaning and I can't break it. So then I end up cleaning this and that and doing this and doing that and washing the carpets, and you know, it just explodes from there. And so then I find myself struggling because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get a video out. Oh my gosh, I have to do this or that. And I have just always been brutal with that. I am the queen of procrastination. And that's something that I think I've not learned how to really like cope with it or deal with it. But I think I've recognized that I have a major procrastination problem as a whole. So I've learned that. And next step is learning how to fix that. So if you have any tips on how to stop procrastinating and, you know, better manage your time, let me know. God, please let me know. I always think I have it all together, and I'm a very organized person, usually. It's just with my time, I can't seem to organize, if that makes, I don't know if that makes any sense. Anyways, but as far as like picking your battles goes, if you, for example, and this is kind of, I think this is where it kind of stems from, is that I know that a lot of my plants will wait. So I'm like, but my house right now looks messy, or, you know, laundry needs to be done or whatever. So that's where I focus my energy. I need to learn how to like split it up and just, I don't even know. I don't know what I need to do, but I've just learned that I have a problem. And that's the first step, right? Admitting you have a problem. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. The next one, I posted an Instagram story a couple weeks ago, and it was kind of like a mini little plant update, like what's going on. So if you followed me on Instagram, you've probably seen that. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I've been dealing with the most insane but my dog is snoring. Are you snoring while I'm trying to film? Eli, can you not? I'm so sorry if you can hear that. Anyway, I have been dealing with the absolute most insane outbreak of mealybugs. Now, I've dealt with mealybugs in the past, you know, my cacti, my succulents, every now and then a Hoya. I have mealybugs right now, but I have them on a lot of my tropicals. My Albo Epipremnum pinnatum has been a nightmare. I treat it once a week religiously. Some have moved their way over to my Thai constellation. All of these plants that have been experiencing these outbreaks, I've been dealing with, like, I am on it, and I'm using alcohol, and I'm using my pesticide or insecticidal soap, and I am wiping, and I am Q-tipping, and I can't. I don't understand. And then all of a sudden, one will show up like across my house. How do you get there? And the problem with mealybugs, and I see a lot of people say, like, you know, you want to get mealybugs, you want to get rid of mealybugs, no problem. Get yourself Q-tip, get yourself rubbing alcohol, and just dab that sucker off there. To those people, that doesn't work. I mean, okay, it does, because you can kill that mealybug instantly, rubbing alcohol and whatever. If you can see those bigger ones, great. Use your Q-tip. I do that as well. But if you have larger mealybugs that you're able to see and dab off, you can 150% guarantee that you have a lot of really tiny ones that you can barely see. They will just look like a speck of dust or moss or something. They are so incredibly small, and they are right down in the cracks and crevices between the petiole and the stem, and you will never see those unless you literally take a magnifying glass and thoroughly inspect every single part of every single plant. Ain't nobody got time for that. I am so frustrated. Like, I'm sure that everyone in my house is so completely tired of hearing me talk about mealybugs, but honestly, when they, like, you're on a succulent or a cacti, cool, I'm down, whatever. Worst case scenario, she's getting tossed in the garbage. But when they're on some of my bigger, most prized plants, now we have problems. Anyway, I am struggling so hard with that now. And what I have learned is that I will take thrips, I will take spider mites, I will take aphids, whatever you can throw at me before mealybugs. Every single time. I'm sorry. I'm like to the point where like they're making me crazy, if you couldn't tell. And like I can't take them anymore. I need to move on because I'm just getting all riled up. Okay. The next thing, understanding that neglecting plants can be a good thing. Now this is something I kind of knew before, but I've kind of gotten to the point now where, because I'm working, I'm not spending all the time. Because like when I was at home just doing YouTube all the time, I really did spend a lot of the day going around looking at my plants, not paying or paying like so much attention to them, not like overwatering them in that regard. I wasn't like helicopter parenting my plants, but just looking at them constantly. So like not, you know how they say like a watched pot never boils, because like if you sit there and stare at it, it takes longer. But if you go and do something and keep your mind occupied while you're waiting for the water to boil, inevitably it will appear as though the water boils faster. It's the same thing with plant growth and those sorts of things. Like a watched plant never grows. You know what I'm saying? There's a new little watched plant never grows. So now that I haven't been like solely focused on staring at my plants all the time, when I come home, you know, or when I get a chance on the weekends to go around and kind of check things out, I've noticed that a lot of my plants are doing some cool things that I didn't notice. So I get a lot more excited, and I'm more into doing things with my plants when I'm not just completely surrounded by plants. Well, okay, not physically, but when my whole life isn't just plants 24/7. I hope that makes sense. So sometimes just walking away and neglecting them and whatever. Not only that, but also on the flip side, which doesn't necessarily affect me as much, but when you helicopter parent your plants or over care for your plants, a lot of the time that can be to the detriment of the plant. A lot of people end up overwatering that way. You know, so on and so forth. Unfurling leaves. Stop touching unfurling leaves, please. I see people do it like on Instagram and TikTok all the time, and I'm like, plants are really delicate, or new leaves are quite delicate, especially anthurium leaves. And when I see people like helping them out or whatever, it just hurts my soul, because it takes next to nothing to mark that leaf. Your best bet, this is such a side like tangent, but if you have a leaf that you are concerned with not coming out, what I have done, so if you have insecticidal soap, that's probably the safest. So I put it in my little spray bottle with just water, and you're kind of killing two birds with one stone here. And you don't need a whole lot, but just because it's insecticidal soap, it has, or an oil, a horticultural oil would work as well, because it has that lubricating component to it. It creates, in essence, a lubricant for that leaf to be able to not stick. So what I do is I go around and I either take my little squeezy squirt bottle with the nozzle thing on it, or I'll put it in a spray bottle, and I just kind of spray or squirt that petiole in the sheath, and 9 times out of 10 that sucker pops out of there in no time and without damage. So please stop touching your new leaves. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Okay, moving along. Oh, this is one. So not working and not having a constant, steady income pushed me to not buy plants, and I survived it. I know. I know. So when I lost my job, right when COVID started, it put me to a place where I had to really reevaluate my plant spending habits, because let's be honest, and I'm going to be real here, is it got out of hand. It got out of hand. I spent an embarrassing amount of money on plants, and in a very, very short time span. Thousands and thousands of dollars in a very short time span. And I mean, Jordan and I both have, and I did have previously, very good jobs. So we're not struggling for money or anything like that. And I kind of got to the point where I was just like, and you don't even realize it. You don't even realize it happening, right? You're just like, oh, it's just like one plant. I'll be fine. It's only like a couple $100 or whatever. And then when that happens over and over and over again, you don't notice it. It's like, looking back at it now, it's like that hindsight is 20/20 thing. And I just think, like, what the actual were you doing? And especially spending that much on so many plants that I didn't know as much about. If you don't know, I've always had plants my whole life. My grandmother was a gardener. My grandmother always had a ton of houseplants growing up. So I've always been a person who grew plants and stuff like that. So, but I was exposed to a lot of new varieties that I'd never heard of before. You know, all these big velvety anthuriums and these big crazy climbing philodendrons, et cetera, et cetera. And I went so far overboard that someone should have stopped me. I should have stopped myself. I can't blame anybody else. I really should have stopped myself, but I didn't, and nobody else did. You know, Jordan, God bless him, was just like, it's making you happy, honey. You do what you gotta do. And it did. And I mean, it's not like we're, you know, bankrupt or whatever, but it was very, very problematic. So the long and the short of it is, to make a long story long, I've learned over when I just physically couldn't buy plants, and I made it through the other side, and I was like still happy. I was still okay. I was still okay. And I was like, wow, I can not buy plants and I can be okay. So that was like a, you know, one of those moments. And so really now I go on websites and I try to find a plant to buy, and I find myself 95% of the time going, I don't even want a plant, really. I think I'm at the point in my collection where I really do have the plants that I really, really love. There are like a very, very small few plants that I really do still want. One in particular that I have had my eye on, and if you are following me on Instagram, you probably know, because I went on a little thing about it, that I was trying to find this plant. This has been a plant that I've wanted for a very long time. It's been on my wish list videos from years ago. And it is the variegated Alocasia Frydek. I guess the Frydek is technically the variegated version, but we all know the Frydek is a Frydek, and then the variegated Frydek, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm not getting all like, you know, botanical on you. But that plant has been one that I have just wanted for so long. And they have been coming down in price. When I originally wanted one, they were fairly cheap, and I didn't pull the trigger. And this has happened to me multiple times. I didn't pull the trigger, and then they went popular, and then the price of them skyrocketed up into the high triple digits. And I was like, no, not gonna happen. Now they're starting to come back down, and they've been in some nurseries in my area for just a little under $100 Canadian. And so I'm like, yep, maybe now's the time. Maybe there was a reason why I didn't get one back then. So I've really spent like 2 years thinking really hard about if I wanted that plant. Turns out I still do, and I am on the hunt for that one specifically. But other than that, I really am cool with like not buying plants right now, which is so weird. I never thought I would say that, but here we are. Okay. Next, we just have a couple more here. Plant support matters. I've heard so many different things recently about moss poles versus planks. You know, there's a group of people that are like super pro moss pole, and there's the group of people that are like, no, planks. And then there's some people that are like, I don't care, it can just hang. So something that I've learned from having different plants, I keep staring at my philodendron gloria. So if I'm like staring past you, I'm so sorry. It's just getting so big. The plant's like 4 feet tall right now, and it's just gorgeous. I'll insert a photo here so you can see it. Anyway, so here's the skinny from my perspective on planks versus moss poles versus a bamboo support pole is you really need to consider what plant you're putting on moss poles, planks, etc. There are plants that like to, how do I put this? There are plants that will grow into whatever you give it, will throw out runners that'll grab onto things, and they just want to do that. Monsteras, absolutely 150,000% one of those. It doesn't matter what you give it, it will stick its roots into completely dry. We're talking about like no wetting moss poles. And it will grab onto them and it will just go. I'll try to insert some, I'll sit to the side here. I'll try to insert some footage so I can show you. And I will tell you right now that I have a crap ton of moss poles, and let's be honest, I can't water them. I just can't. I have so many plants that the last thing on my mind is spending 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes trying to wet a moss pole. I just can't do it. So, having said that, my monsteras don't care, and a lot of plants don't care if you wet whatever thing they're trying to climb up. My monsteras have dug right into that moss pole, and they are like just on their way up. A lot of philodendrons won't dig their claws into something. But what we need to understand is it's not so much the adhesion that we're looking for, it's more so supportive. So plants have this incredible way of knowing that if they grow off of the top of something and they can no longer be supported by it, they know that if they put out another few big leaves, that stem that's not supported can't support those big leaves. So then it will grow smaller leaves. So it doesn't have to break. Plants are incredible. Is that not incredible? That's incredible. So more so it's about supporting the plant rather than having it cling onto a moss pole and climb up. I personally like the look of moss poles rather than just tying something to like a stem, a stick or a bamboo pole or whatever. It just looks more natural, and I just like the look of it. So it's really not about that. Now then you also have your plants that like to really grab onto things and shingle or climb that way. Syndapsis are one of them. You have your shingling plants like Debaya, Rhaphidophora hayi, Cryptantha, what else? Pothos, trailing philodendrons, they'll grip right onto your wall and just go. So for those ones, I would probably lean towards something that has a little more rough texture. But having said that, I have a Debaya that's growing up my painted wall. It's not textured. You know, it's just a painted wall, drywall, you know what I mean? Also, I've had a lot of trailing philodendrons cling onto my wall. My Brazil just grabbed on and went for it. What else? Those types of plants will, you know, want to grab onto something and go. But for our plants that climb up like that, it's more just about support. So don't bend over backwards and, you know, go crazy trying to water all your moss poles. Because honestly, the plants that want to dig into them will, regardless of whether you water them or not. That's in my opinion. Y'all are gonna come for me. Those people are like, yeah, don't water them. I'm sorry, okay? But I've had quite a few years experience with the ones that I have, and as long as they're supported, that's the important part. I mean, the goal is not to have the roots go into the pole or attach to the pole. The goal is to grow your plant taller with bigger leaves, right? And all you need for that is support. Really doesn't matter if the roots grow in. Anyway, that's my opinion. Take it or leave it. Okay. That was a long one. I only have two left. I'm sorry. This is really long. How long are we at? Oh, I'll try to edit out a lot of ums and ahs. Okay, so this one kind of goes hand in hand with the first one. But I've learned that I just can't have it all. Okay. I have learned that I can't have the big plants that I want and a whole lot of everything. I just can't do it. And that just, like I said, this one really I kind of should have put this up in with the other ones. But I just can't have it all as much as we want to have all of these different plants. It gets to the point where it's too much. It's too hard to take care of. Your house looks too cluttered. Unless you have this big, massive house, which I definitely do not. I can't have it all. Okay, moving along. That was, okay. The last one, and I'm gonna have so many people be like, what? What I have learned in the last year is, are you ready for this? I don't like Hoya. I'm sorry, Paula. I just don't. I tried to. I really did. I tried. I got all these Hoya. I have a couple that I will keep, but I have a very specific upcoming purpose that I'm going to use them for. But other than that, just not a Hoya person. And I'm done. I will never, I shouldn't say never, but at this point, I want to say that I will never buy another Hoya. Sorry, not sorry. I apologize to all of my Hoya friends out there. I know that Hoyas are such a big thing right now. Or maybe they're not. I don't know. Maybe people have wandered away from Hoya. Let me know. Are Hoyas still like this big, hey, gotta get them all thing? I don't know. But I don't gotta get them all. I don't want them. Anyway. So that's pretty much all I had to say. I know it was super chatty and it was just like me sitting down, kind of mind spewing about all of these things that I've been thinking about lately. And I hope you enjoyed it anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble on. I apologize for my absence. I say this all the time. I'm really going to try to get better at organizing my time and allotting time for different things on weekends. I would like to start batch filming so that I can kind of get ahead of the game a little bit, but I've been saying that for years. I still haven't gotten there. So if you do YouTube or something like that and you seem to have worked out a work-home plant YouTube life balance, please send me your tips because God, I need them. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much for liking and watching and commenting and subscribing. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. It is a huge help for my channel. I really do appreciate it. Also, make sure that you're still subscribed because YouTube tends to unsubscribe people from channels all the time without their knowledge or their consent, and it's annoying. So make sure you're still subscribed. Thank you. Mwah, mwah. I love you all to bitty bits. Have an amazing day, night, week, month, and year, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah.